66 CE, Jerusalem under Roman occupation. The people groan under corrupt procurators. Radical revolutionaries seek to prod the people to revolt. The rabbinical establishment counsels patience and diplomacy. This is chapter 8 of the Sikarikin. The plaza in front of the temple was filling with people. The mood was angry. Some carried clubs, a few spears or swords. 2 rows of Syrian auxiliaries, commanded by a Roman officer, were arrayed in the portico behind Rabbi Moshe. They were there to keep order and prevent any disturbances from breaking out. The crowd now spilled out beyond the plaza, onto the walkway before the temple walls, and even onto the short stairway that led to the wide bridge that connected the Temple Mount with the upper city. Jerusalem's morning cool was rapidly giving way to an early summer heat under a clear sky and bright sun. Rabbi Moshe wiped the sweat from his forehead with the sleeve of his cloak as he faced the crowd. Hear me, citizens of Jerusalem, and those who have come throughout the land. Hear me, my fellow Jews, for these are dangerous times, and we are at a perilous crossroad. Rabbi Moshe's words boomed over the crowd and seized its attention. There are those who counsel rebellion against Rome. That way lies folly. Someone near the front of the crowd shouted, "Enough is enough!" Moshe pointed to the heckler. My friend here shouts, "Enough is enough!" Moshe repeated for the benefit of those who could not hear the heckler's words. Indeed, Rabbi Moshe went on, when is enough too much? Surely Florus provokes us. Is it enough to risk war with Rome, a war we cannot win? The Romans rule everywhere, their legions undefeated. They have conquered lands larger than ours, nations more numerous than ours, and kingdoms with more wealth and resources than we have in Judea. From beyond the Euphrates to the east, to Libya and the deserts to the south, to Cadiz to the west, and even as far as Britain. Another interruption from the crowd cut him short. We defeated Antiochus and his armies. We'll defeat these uncircumcised Romans. Moshe raised both hands, palms out. Another fellow here reminds me that we defeated Antiochus and the Syrians, and says we can do the same to the Romans. Ah, my friends, I see no Judah Maccabee here. Perhaps you say, one will rise when the need comes. Perhaps, but consider, Judah Maccabee had the support of the Torah sages in the days of Antiochus. Do the Torah sages of today support war against the Romans? Moshe lowered his hands and leaned forward. His eyes scanned the crowd, gauging their reactions. Then he noticed something peculiar. There were mostly men in the crowd, and a few women, but one woman in particular caught his attention. She was tall, taller than all the men, maybe even bigger and taller than his brother Aaron. She was ungainly, too, for she had a most unfeminine way of walking. And while everyone else in the crowd was staying in place, this odd woman was constantly moving, making her way along the outskirts of the assembled throng. Moshe realized that he had been distracted and silent for too long, and was in danger of losing his audience. No, thundered Moshe, there is a very important difference between Antiochus and Caesar. Antiochus wanted to stamp out the Jewish religion. He forbade the study of Torah. He forbade circumcision. The Romans do not interfere with us. Indeed, they make offerings to our temple, and yet there are those who would insult Rome and Caesar by refusing their offerings. Someone bellowed, Nero is a madman. Rabbi Moshe did not repeat those words. Instead, when Emperor Nero, not knowing our laws, wanted to set up an idol in our temple, he relented when we petitioned him. We don't need Nero's permission to keep our temple pure, came a shout from the man who had called out against Nero. Shut up, you coward, and go back to your mansion in the upper city with the other traitors. Rabbi Moshe responded immediately. Now this fellow called me a coward and a traitor. He told me to go back to my mansion in the upper city. Rabbi Moshe smiled broadly. I wish I had a mansion in the upper city. I live there, he said, pointing to the southeast with its warren of small houses. With the rest of you, I'll tell you a secret. My wife is constantly nagging me to get her a better house. The one we have isn't good for her. She says it's not fit for a Syrian's pig. Laughter swept through the crowd. Moshe saw the strange woman again. She was no longer on the outskirts of the crowd, but was moving through it, getting closer to the speaker's platform. Moshe felt his attention being pulled away from his task at hand and stopped following the woman with his eyes. My friends, let me share another secret. A few days ago, my wife told me that she was not going to accept my advances until I get her that bigger house. Divorce her, someone shouted. Someone said divorce her, Moshe repeated. I'll tell her you suggested that. Again there was laughter. I tell you this, my friends, if I thought war with Rome would get me that mansion in the upper city, as small and puny as I am, I would take up a sword and fight Rome. Gales of laughter greeted Moshe. The strange woman in the gray dress was now at the front edge of the crowd. She was looking straight up at him. Moshe deliberately looked over her head. He resumed his speech. But the truth is, if there is war with Rome, it will be long and bitter, and at its end there will be no upper city mansions, no lower city houses, and no temple. Why make war with Caesar and Rome when our quarrel is with... A disturbance in the middle of the crowd cut Moshe off. Two men had started fighting, and like ripples in a pond, a disorganized wave of pushing and shoving, of men tripping over each other, moved outward. In response, the auxiliaries came pouring from the porticos and moved forcefully into the undulating mass of people. Calm down, my friends, calm down, Rabbi Moshe pleaded over the rising din. And then Moshe saw, out of the corner of his eyes, that woman rushing up the steps, rushing toward him. What could she possibly want? He turned to face her. She sprung like a leopard upon a helpless gazelle, a mother leopard eager to feed her hungry brood. She spun Rabbi Moshe around and clamped a strong hand over his mouth. Rabbi Moshe struggled valiantly, in vain. A sharp blade sliced deep into his throat.